Westall is a 33-year-old mum of two from rural Cumbria. 2 years ago, she decided to become a primary teacher, so has been on a flexible part-time teacher training course since 2005. Being a mum, she's already familiar with primary education and contact with children. However, Christobel also works as a non-teaching classroom assistant at Casterton Primary School.
Both of you have got outstanding work.
At the moment, Christobel is on a work placement at Beetham School and is being mentored by Jude Harkness. Jude is 23 and has been a part-time Key Stage 2 teacher here for a year. Christobel is only her second student and they've been working together now for 8 weeks. Christobel is about to teach a numeracy lesson to Key Stage 2 pupils in the school, which has a roll of only 39 pupils.
For me, one of the most important things about having a mentor, and certainly a mentor like Jude, has been just the support that she's given me and the encouragement, and always knowing that I get honest feedback from her. When it's come to the planning, which I think when you come straight to placement is very difficult at first. She was very careful not to give me too much, but not to give me too little to put into the lesson. And it just seemed to gel.
Because I've only been out of college myself for 3 years, I think things were fresh in my mind as well. And I can remember the things I wanted as a student. So it gave me some ideas of what I was coming into.
Talk me through this morning then, Christobel.
Right, for our maths lesson this morning, we're doing today's lesson's the coordinates lesson. I've got my plan here, and the introduction to the lesson, mental oral starter, I'm going to ask the children to recall what they can remember about coordinates.
Okay.
And then I thought I'd go to the National Numeracy Strategy ITP grid. I've got my steps to success to put on the board.
Brilliant.
For starting at the origin, then going horizontally, vertically,
Yeah,
and how we write them.
Some of those words.
Is that all right? And then the individual tasks, I've differentiated for the year 3s and the year 4s. And then for the plenary, I thought for 5 minutes I'll give them an empty grid to draw their own shape on, and then somebody can read out their coordinates, and whilst another child plots it again on the ITP grid.
Wonderful.
So that's my lesson.
Okay, we'll go to the classroom as well.
Okay. Today we are going to be remembering how to plot, how to read and how to write our coordinates. I want you to turn to the person sitting next to you, and on these whiteboards I want you to write down everything and anything that you can remember about coordinates.
I tend to make notes throughout an observation, and then I will talk to the student after the lesson or at the end of the day, and get a general feel for it, asking them how they thought the lesson went first before giving my own opinion. I'd give my positive advice first, and then feed in things I thought that they needed to work on maybe and target for next time.
That's actually a nice way of receiving feedback, because you put them down as any negative goes down as a target, and we decide on those together. Yeah. So there's never been an occasion when Jude said, well, I thought this didn't go very well, and I've said, well, I thought it went really well. So we usually agree, don't we, on what, because I can feel how it's, if things are going wrong.
Jude and Christobel are going to watch video footage of the lesson so Jude can feed back thoroughly and they can set their targets.
Today we are going to be remembering how to plot, how to read and how to write our coordinates. Can anybody remember Miss Harkness's rhyme for remembering which line is horizontal and which line is vertical? Bradley, go on, what is it?
Monica stands on the head, horizontal Harry lies on his bed.
He does, yes, but you've said it back to front. We say it, we talk about horizontal Harry first, don't we? Okay, so we say horizontal Harry lies in his bed, vertical Veronica stands on her head. Not only does it tell us that horizontal Harry lies flat like that, but also that when we plot coordinates, we plot the horizontal number first and then the vertical, okay?
It was good there, repeating the words horizontally, vertically, so it's getting clear in the children's head when they come to do it themselves.
I think that's partly nerves, my repetition as well. Make sure I've said it.
Write the coordinate for that, and then you start to go around the shape. Write that one, and that one. Right, someone in year 3 to hand out the year 3 for me. And Natasha, can you hand those out for me, please? And year 4s. Year 4. Don't forget to write your name and the date at the top of your sheet.
Thought it was really good. You've got 2 differentiated tasks there. It may have been nice if the sheets were out on the desk, so when you were telling the children that there was a dot,
They could see it more clearly.
so they could see it more clearly in front of them. I think a lot of them picked up what you were meaning, but there's the odd few in the group that might need that extra support to have it in front of them first. Then when you say, is it clear? Hopefully they then respond and let you know, honestly.
You can remember the name we give to lines that are going in that direction. Go on, Laura, what is it? Horizontal, it is. It's a horizontal line.
Throughout the lesson, when you're doing your shared part, as well as hands up and looking for children with hands up, maybe direct some questions at individuals. So those that don't answer as often, or maybe just aren't as confident putting their hand up, you could think of a differentiated question that they're capable of answering, and then targeting to them and saying, Ryan, can you answer this? Darren, can you answer? And feeding them a question. And they are quite used to that, rather than it always being hands up,
the same
up.
people.
Yeah.
It is something that I do want to include in my lesson, but sometimes there's that much to think about. I forget to remember who I've actually asked. I can always say I know that Jeannie, it's hands always up, and so it's something that I think for now, it was certainly that lesson, there was that much else for me to think about that I just can't keep track of it yet.
Now then, what do we put around our coordinate? Your coordinate for that point is 3, 6. Well done. And what do we put between the 2 numbers? Fantastic. What number is it on this side for this dot? Which direction are you going in? Which direction are you? Which spot are you doing? This one.
6.
It's 6.
That was really good work, 1-to-1. There was lots of prompts and questioning in the right direction, but you didn't feed her the answers. You waited for her to give the direction and the wording, which was good.
It was quite tricky, and I was quite shocked at just how lost she was starting off on that task.
Yeah. I think what was different as well was on the sheet there was 5 shapes on the one grid, whereas on the board when you modelled there was only the one shape.
Yeah.
So I think that might have threw
too much information.
Yeah.
Some of them,
threw them off.
1, 1, that's right. 1, 5. So this one here, okay. Which number are we going to read from the vertical?
It is.
Lovely brackets and a lovely comma. Well done. Call me again if you need some more help, alright?
Your praise is consistent throughout the whole of the independent work and the shared part. And it's nice the children know to put their hand up or just turn and face you, and you work your way around the classroom giving them all support.
It was a bit difficult by this stage, and I was aware that I had Laura over that side and Ryan over that side of the room, who I knew I needed to keep an eye on and make sure they understood, and I couldn't actually get to them.
You could always move them around and sit those children that you feel want the support together. In a different lesson.
I might do that next time, actually, then I can keep them together.
I would like you to draw a shape on this grid. You must only use straight lines, okay? And then when you've drawn your shape and you're happy with it, I want you to write the coordinates for each corner of the shape. Okay, there's lines at the bottom for you to write those coordinates on, and then at the end of the lesson, I'm going to ask some of you to read out the coordinates for another person to plot on my blue graph.
I thought the timing was really good with your shared work and how long that you spent talking and modelling and then letting them interact.
Well, I made an effort with this lesson. I think one of my last targets was to get the timing right. So I had rehearsed this lesson a few times at home in front of the mirror to just get that timing right, because I'd set them 2 tasks and I wanted to make sure that that wasn't too much and that it could fit into the lesson. Yesterday afterwards, when I reflected on it at home, it didn't feel that it had gone as well as it actually looks like it did go when I'm watching it back now. Because at the beginning, when I'd asked them to remember as much as they could about coordinates, they didn't put down as much as I thought they would and the exact things that I thought they'd put down. And certainly at the start of the lesson, the first 10 minutes, I felt like I was really ad-libbing a lot, and I felt that it was very disjointed and I hadn't gone in the order that I'd wanted to go in. But watching it back, I'm really pleased to have seen it because it was better. Yesterday I thought it was an okay lesson, but I thought looking back today it was good.
Okay, so after reflecting on the lesson, to set a target.
What about to differentiate my questioning to include all the children?
Okay.
Would that be too demanding of me?
Yeah. Another one, to differentiate key questions to individual pupils.
Yeah, I think to try and make sure that that I do include all the children when I'm questioning throughout the lesson, so they've all had a turn.
Yeah, I think that will give you as well any idea. If it wasn't in your plan to work with a certain group of children and you saw from your questioning that there was a certain individuals, you could then even change things and adapt it and take them into a group and continue with your lesson. Excellent. I think when a student comes, depending on their experience, they'll all have different needs. Christobel, with her having children and having previous experience in school elsewhere, I think Christobel's needs weren't as extreme as what another student may be. She knows the life and the routine of a school. She knows some curriculum knowledge already, so you weren't as needy as others may be.
Another overwhelming thing as a student is when you actually look at something like the National Numeracy Strategy, all the jargon that's in it. That for me has been my biggest challenge. I can't imagine combining that with trying to get to know what a child is and having absolutely no prior knowledge of the
and just the basics, like bell goes at 9 o'clock, what lesson structures are and when playtimes and things are. Students that haven't got that experience are coming in really with a blank canvas that you've got to help them build. I think the student mentoring experience has been really good, not only for myself and Christobel but for the children in the class as well. On a personal level, when I'm watching Christobel or even having Christobel observe me, you're always reflecting on the things that you're doing as things are happening. I think for the children it's really nice to have another adult in for them to work with and get to know and respect.
From my point of view, from a mentor, I certainly appreciate having someone who is open and again just wants to pass on their love of teaching to me, and who wants their student to be as good as they are. And also, don't get an email from your student on a Saturday night and think, flipping out, our student's emailing me again. Think, great, my student wants to get it right, and email back with any query. I certainly would consider being a mentor if I ever qualify. When I qualify, I would certainly want to gain a couple of years experience, and then I would definitely want to be a mentor and pass on my good experience to somebody else, most definitely.